My life has just changed drastically and probably forever. Just when I began to believe that I had a chance to be happy and content. But not anymore. All because of a decision made by someone, somewhere, in a world far away.
Leading retail company Marksons was embroiled in a potentially damaging controversy last night over the alleged use by suppliers of child labor. Every pyjama you buy is the end of a girl's dream. Would you buy pajamas knowing that they were made by a 12-year-old? I sure wouldn't. It is our duty as responsible consumers to prevent exploitation by boycotting goods made by children. Children have the right to an education and childhood to realize their potential. Watch the news tonight at 8.
I was one of the many girls working in the factory. And not once did anyone ask us why we worked there or how we felt about this. If anyone even bothered to ask, this is what I would have told them. My name is Fatima, and this is my story. Before I begin my story, let me tell you where I live. Morocco is a country in northwestern part of Africa, surrounded by the sea on one side, and on the other side by the desert and mountainous exterior. There are few big cities which attract people from rural area in search of work, because of severe climatic and economic conditions. Meknes, also known as the city of Thousand Minarets, is one of the largest and richest cities with close to 800,000 inhabitants. It is on the fringe of this big city that I live in a tiny land, and I'm sure that there are million other girls just like me in Morocco and even in other parts of the world. And our story is mostly the same with few differences. We would wake up just before the sun to fetch water from the public tap. Here we would meet and discuss local gossip and sometimes politics, and then rush off for the rest of our tasks. Next was to take the bread to the public oven. Here too we would wait around for a bit and then rush back home to finish the rest of our chores. I lived with my parents, 4 siblings, my uncle and my aunt, and my grandmother. Once all the chores were done, it was a frantic rush to get my brother and sisters ready, to just make it on time. I didn't enjoy school, though I really wish I did. It was hard for us girls. By the time I got to school, I was tired and I couldn't concentrate. But it did get me out of the house for a few hours and away from my chores. It was different for my brothers. The boys enjoyed school. They had time to study and play. They did help around the house, but the family gave their education a priority. It was what the life was meant to be, and I couldn't really complain. I had a father that loved me, a mother that cared for me, a home, and my caring family to share it with. Many of my friends didn't even have that. One day, my grandmother fell very ill, and that night I overheard my mother and father. Mother sounded very concerned, while my father looked devastated. He said that there were no options left. He had tried everything possible. No one would give in another loan, and in order to pay for grandmother treatment, the entire family would have to sell everything they own. I couldn't sleep at all that night. Where would we go? What will we do? That night, I told my friend about the situation. She told me about her sister, who was working at the new garment factory. With that, I decided to talk to my parents the next day. I knew it would be difficult and take a little bit of convincing. Mother was relieved and father was not happy, but agreed as he knew we didn't have a choice. We were amazed by the number of girls there already. Beyond that glass, I got a glimpse of what my life could be. It was all very new and exciting. My mother came out, gave me a packet with my uniform and said, "You start work tomorrow. You will be paid 300 dirhams." The next day, while my sisters got ready for school, I put on my new uniform. I was excited and looking forward my first day. But suddenly, while I was waiting for the bus, I became very nervous. What would I do if I couldn't walk? What if it was difficult? Just then, a kind-looking matronly lady sat beside me. She told me that I would be safer here than anywhere else in the city, and that all I had to do was to stay focused on work, and that I had nothing to worry about. Reassured, I sat through the rest of the bus drive, all set for my first day at work. I was taken straight to the shop floor, along with other new apprentices. I picked up a pyjama from the pile in front of me, and I couldn't believe how the fabric felt. It was so soft. I had never felt anything like this before in my life. We had to cut the extra threads on all the finished garments. I got to work and I made sure that every pyjama that left my table was perfect. I didn't realize how quickly the day went. I ran out, eager to tell everyone about my first day. And day by day my confidence grew. I made lots of new friends. And it was nice to talk to girls who were from different parts of the city. Places I didn't even know about. Before I knew, the month passed by, and it was finally payday. I had never held so many notes before. When I gave my pay to my father that evening, he had tears of joy. For the first time since grandmother's illness, I saw him smile. That was the proudest moment of my life. This strengthened my determination to work harder, so in a couple of years I could become a permanent employee, and then we would never have to worry about money again. My life went on, but work was getting a little bit tougher. According to the contract my mother had signed, I was allowed to be working in the factory as an apprentice for a year. As apprentices, we were not taught skills like cutting, pattern making, and quality control that would have allowed us to become supervisors one day and did the more menial job. We were not permanent employees. We did not have their rights. We worked longer hours and had no job security. But this time, my family was dependent on my salary, and I continued working harder than ever. One evening, as I returned home, I saw my aunt leaving looking pleased. My mother told me that she had come with a marriage proposal for me, from a very good family. I knew this meant a lot to her, but I told her that I was too young, and I didn't want to think about marriage for the next few years. And when the time came, I would pay for my own wedding. My mother respected my decision. At home, things were improving. Grandmother got better. As I walked down the street, I could hear people say, "She is the girl who paid off her father's loan." I was always loved by my family and friends, but now they was respected me too. Suddenly, I had the courage to dream of a better future, to dream that maybe one day we could get off of this slum. That evening, I went out and I did something that I never dared to do in my whole life. I bought something for myself. And for the rest of the day, I couldn't stop admiring myself. One day, a group of foreigners came to the factory. Then, they visited our shop floor and talked to some of the girls about our work. They all seemed friendly and nice. It was the first time that anyone had taken any interest in us. One of them came up to me and asked me my age. I told them the truth, that I was 14. It was only a month later, when I was summoned to the manager's office, that I realized who they really were. The manager slyly said, "Don't come back anymore. Today's your last day. Come next week and collect your money. But now, leave immediately." I was trying to figure out what just happened. The so-called friendly tourists that visited the last time were actually from the British TV station, and that secretly videotaped my conversation about my age. I felt cheated. Who was there to decide what we should or should not do? In one stroke, everything changed. We had to give up everything we owned and our life as we knew it. I had done nothing wrong. Even legally the factory had done nothing wrong. So why was the rest of the world penalizing them? Didn't they have choice? Couldn't they have done something different? Did they know what the consequences would be and how deeply they would affect us?
As far as the wrong labeling is concerned, we are ashamed that this has happened. The suppliers have been pulled up, and we have already pulled out the entire batch of pajamas from the stores as soon as we were aware of this mistake. We assure our customers that we will rectify this error on our part. As far as the other allegations are concerned, I can vouch for the company that nothing illegal has happened and no wrong has been done by us. All claims are false, and our customers can rest assured that we would do nothing that could in any way affect their sentiments.
We were not happy with this decision, but the company left us with no options. We either fire the girls or lose the contract. It is true that the company has done nothing illegal. All the girls were above the legal age limit permissible according to the Moroccan law. The British media blew it out of proportion and chose to highlight the wrong issue. Instead of focusing on what was best for the girls, their actions resulted in these poor girls losing their livelihood. They could have got the company Marksons to understand their situation and draw up a plan to help the girls in Morocco by reducing the workload and working hours, providing healthcare facilities and education, and access to credit at reasonable interest. All of this would have helped the girls a great deal.
None of us are happy with this decision, but the company left us with no other choice. Either we had to fire the girls or they would cancel our contract. Apprenticeship is meant to ensure education and skill training along with work. The girls could have been taught the entire process, given some training and stitching and designing, which would help them and the company in the future. Why do these people have a problem with children working? Don't children in the UK work? Doesn't it help them to secure a better future for themselves?
Given the situation the girls were in, this was the best option for them. I too worked when I was a child as a domestic servant and doing some embroidery at home. I wish I had the option to work in a factory like this. It would have been so much better. Now these girls have been deprived of this opportunity. It will force them into avenues which are far more dangerous, where the chances of them being exploited much higher.
My daughter dreamed of a future different from mine. She worked hard to change her life and overcome her circumstances. But now, in one stroke, they have taken it all away from her and left us all in a situation that is much worse than before.
So I have settled down to a more pathetic version of my earlier life. Cleaning, cooking, washing and scrubbing. I hardly ever leave the house. Now I embroidered, make lace, cooped up all day in the corner of my house for a measly 100 dinar a month. I dare to dream. And suddenly, for no fault of mine, and with no regard to the law of my country, or what I want, someone, somewhere in the world far away, just took that away from me. And they say, it's for my own good.